love
thank you
it.
so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you tonight. I was just like, hey, I'm interviewing Jessica, and my mother-in-law was just like, I just grabbed her books on Kindle Unlimited. Just like, great
Yay!
job.
Oh yeah, I know it's free if you're on Kindle Unlimited. Between the Devil, as far as I know, and the Deep Blue Sea is unlimited. I don't know if both can be true as well, but
No, both can be true is not. So she went unlimited for one and then bought the other. So
oh well, I love it.
yeah,
Thank you. All the ways
yeah,
get to me. All roads get to me eventually. I think. I don't know how any of
yeah.
that works, but it's probably counts as a sale, right? I don't, again, obviously I know all the ways. I know how to influence. I know how to sell books. I know. How to, I just kidding. I don't know any of that.
I mean, well, do you want to talk about that? Because so first, correct me if I'm wrong, both can be true is your second, right?
Correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea was my debut, and it came out in May of last year. So both can be true. Just came out in May of this year. So I did two books in 2 years.
Um, do you want to just right off the bat talk about how you are kind of forced to all of a sudden be not just the author, but also the face, the influencer, and all of the things, and how that is fitting into your life right now?
Yeah. Okay. Well, forced is not necessarily the how I would put it, because I very much choose to be public facing, and I do
Yes.
this for a very specific reason, and that is because I believe so strongly in my message of hope and recovery. I think it would be so hard right now in this era for someone to be like an introverted author that really just wants to sit behind a desk and write page after page and just not do any of the marketing side. I I'm like I love it. It's really fun for me because I love people and I love connecting with people. Uh, but it is very time consuming, and you hope that it sort of like gives back, or like there's return on investment basically, because it's your time, but you never know. And so a lot of this is like going out to the void, right? And then you're like, but I can't see book sales, so I have no idea what's happening with it. But what I can tell you is that the best thing in the whole world is when people slide into my DMs and tell me their way in which they are impacted by recovery in some way, and how my messaging through my books spoke to them. And so every time I do that, I just say, okay, this is all worth it, because I opened the door to communication for something that, not a lot of people were talking about 20, 30 years ago. And now we can talk about it. So yes, that makes it all worthwhile for me.
Do you want to talk about it? Let's
About
talk about it.
recovery?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Oh,
So both
always.
of your books have it's not subtle, right? It's a very obvious message, um, destigmatizing recovery, kind of putting a face to addiction. It can happen to anyone. No one's immune to it. And on top of that, the big thing that spoke to me was all of that, um, and how it relates to motherhood and identity. And so that's what got me really into your books. Obviously, this is new to me, speaking with authors, and I'm not an extroverted person, so I'm really putting myself out there. But
Good for
where that came
you.
from, thank you. Um, but and your book helped inspire that. So
Oh, thank you.
I hope that makes you feel something.
It does. It does. You don't even have to DM me to tell me that. Thank you for telling me that right now. That's the best. I'm so glad.
um, but that's the thing, right? Like I read your books and it really did it it kind of highlighted for me that like there is a little bit of resentment there. And I did lose a little bit of myself when I had to become this other person for people that depend on me.
Right.
And that kind of that really spoke to me because I was just like, you know what? Like I need to still be myself. because I don't want
Right.
to disappear. Um, and
Absolutely.
so tell me the inspiration. They're both different, but also similar messages. So
Mhm.
yeah, floor is yours.
Yeah, well, so I mean, first of all, I love what you said because it's both of it starts out with between the devil of the idea that, you know, you can have this resentment towards being a mother because in so many ways we don't know what we don't know, right? And like we can say all day long that we wanted to become mothers, and then when it actually happens and the amount of sacrifice that it actually happens as a result of motherhood, I think as a person, you can be allowed to say, like, this isn't what I thought. Just because, like, how could you even imagine, right? Like the waking up to feed and the sleeplessness, and then I'm so far out of that phase now, but I'm into like the little person phase where their emotional needs are so significant and they come before my emotional needs, right? Which is the deal that we signed on the dotted line for. But you're still allowed to feel baffled by it. And so I try and write female characters where they're honest about that, because more often than not, everybody is having some kind of conversation with themselves and sort of suffering in silence, which is why I particularly wanted to do the messaging that I did with that, but then also in the underlying theme of recovery, because especially in today's culture, we are told, and women, it is, it's not no secret that women are being told, like, you are not strong enough to handle motherhood. So a solution for that is drinking. So go ahead and do that. It will make everything better. And it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And that's where the mommy wine culture piece comes in. But then all of my characters become addicted to an addictive substance, just like I did. And I want to normalize that they're not villains, that they're not bad people, that in many ways they were conned into a false narrative. And so that's sort of the underlying theme of definitely Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, and why I wanted to write that. Um, and then both can be true. What you said about disappearing is to go deeper into that. All of a sudden, you have all these roles that, again, you signed on for unknowingly, right? And then you're responsible for all of these other things, and it can be as a partner, it can be as a sister, it can be as a mother, it can be as a best friend, and you're just like, wait a minute, did I sign up for this? Like, I
Is
can't
this
I
what I
can't
agreed to?
is this it, like, truly. And it's like, I have a line in the book about summer camp for adults where it's like somewhere along the way and we're like, wait a minute, it's like sleepaway camp for adults, but it's like, but it's not fun anymore sometimes, right? Just based on the level of your sense of self disappearing. And so I loved the idea of playing with all the ways a woman can disappear, and I meant that literally. And then especially in motherhood and especially in recovery.
You did the thing.
I did the thing.
Yeah, you did the thing.
Thank you.
The message received loud and clear. I also I feel like it's very interesting that you said, like, we didn't know what we signed on for.
Yeah.
There was nothing in me drew me to books about being a mother until after I was already there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
Oh yeah.
and so like I I will say, like, some of the books that I've read, it's like very far-fetched. Like, it'll touch on postpartum, like, fine. But the losing the identity piece, that was new to me. Like, that was,
Yeah.
your book was one of the first ones that I have read. And since then I've read a few. They're out there.
Oh
There
yeah.
was nothing in me that was just like, oh, I want to read this book, until I don't want to say it was too late because I love my kids.
Right,
But
right. We're
you
not
know what I
allowed to
mean though?
say
Like,
those things, and
no,
that's not what
gosh,
we
no.
mean. And also, we can just say everybody knows what we mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know, I don't know, like, yeah, a little warning would have been nice.
Yeah, you can't.
And
Well, I like to say you can't unsqueeze that tube of toothpaste. You
you
can't. You can't
cannot.
get it back in the. Yeah, that's it. Same with like once you say like you're an alcoholic, like it's like oh how do you do it? Like once you become a parent, it's like oh no, here we are,
This is
and
it
that
now.
is for good, bad, and wonderful, and everything in between, right?
Um, so how are you balancing? I mean, obviously you're doing it extremely gracefully. Um, I'm seeing a lot of sober living podcasts, recovery podcasts, um, YouTube channel invites to you. Um, how are you balancing the book and these sober living podcasts? Um, is it as easy to marry them as you make it seem? Because your book touches
Well,
on
I'm
it.
glad it looks like that. I'm hiding at
It
my
does.
mom's house right now, because I have two dogs, three kids at home, and then we have five bunnies. One is about to have bunnies, and then we have three guinea pigs. And like Amazon comes like right now usually, and so I was like, okay, I need a house that's like actually quiet. So this is what balancing looks like. I like set the stage at an extra room at my mom's house. So uh it's a lot of like sneakery, if that's a word. But in terms of marrying the two, I actually just went and did two events with Carrie Mayer. Her book Summer of Love just came out, and her and I had a conversation because she's a USA Today bestseller, and for the first time she decided to talk about recovery, or have a addicted character, and she has about 4 years sober herself. And so she called me like right when Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea came out, and she asked me that same question, like, how do you see marrying those two worlds? Because really our target audience is people that understand addiction, uh, which it can be true. It also doesn't have to be true. But that piece goes together really well because what has happened is there is a lot of quit lit out there. There's a lot of memoirs out there, and they're all wonderful. And I use them as tools for my own recovery. But what there isn't a lot of is there isn't a lot of fictional characters that are honest as to what it looks like to live a sober life, that aren't villains, that aren't cliches, that aren't fall down disasters, that aren't living on the street. Really functioning women that have it all together, which in a lot of ways is how I presented at the end of my drinking. And so I thought that there was this opportunity to create this accurate narrative in a fictional space that allows people to really be able to look closer. And where do I go for that? It's you go to recovery channels, and it's just nice because one of the foundations of like 12-step meetings is other people hear themselves in your words, right? It normalizes your hard in your experience. And so that's also what's true in book clubs, right? Like we read the books because we're like, oh, I see myself in this, and like, oh, does this make you feel seen? And so I was like, well, why wouldn't we put those all together and see what happens? And it's just been really the most like rewarding and fulfilling. And I will say it's a part of my recovery program now is to be in these new spaces where like I get to interact with different types of recovery. Like the founder of She Recovers, just reached out to me and said that she loves my book. And that's a whole, it's like a nonprofit organization. And they do, it's like not necessarily, I believe it's 12-step based, but I could be wrong. But it's not affiliated with AA or anything like that. But it's just targeted specifically for women because all of the other programs were targeted for men. And so I'm like, how cool is this? Like, there is no like one size fits all of how you do recovery. And so I'm like, okay, well, yay, I get to be a part of the conversation and people want me in the conversation. Like 15 years ago, nobody cared what I had to say because I had nothing of value to say.
I don't know if that's true,
I mean, I
but
was a very different person when I was drinking. I'll just tell you that. I was a special education teacher, so I believe I did have things of value, but I was deeply suffering in my addiction, and I had nothing to offer by way of like lived life. Obviously, I was younger too, but I love hearing from other people inside those communities, and gaining their wisdom, and then finding ways that I can incorporate it into my writing so that more and more people's stories are happening inside fiction and they're seeing themselves more and more. So it's a lot of research too, which is super fun for me.
um, so speaking of research, and I love asking this question because like I mean, there's some really sketchy answers out there. So I'd be intrigued to see if one of your answers is sketchy. But as far as research goes, what's like the weirdest thing you've had to Google? Have you had to Google anything weird?
So many. And it's actually really awesome. So, okay, so I will tell you this. So with Both Can Be True, I knew that I wanted to do some sort of like missing woman true crime element. I am a crime junkie. I listen to Morbid. Again, if I could be on their podcast, that would be amazing because I'm
Morbid, come find
super,
her.
yes, I love Ash and Alina. Love them. I love the psychology piece of it, understanding why horrible things happen specifically to women, and also the gaslighting that's involved, and like the continuing conversation that says, oh, no, horrible things don't happen to women. It's like, wait, do you know who's like the number one person that will want to kill you is your partner? It's like, that's like it's like a 1 in 3 shot that you're related to them. And you're just like, okay. So I was like, I had to do some really fun, like, okay, well, what happens if like what happens with like hypothermia? And what happens if
Oh yeah,
you're lost in, in like all kinds of stuff where I have to say I definitely didn't know the answers to them, or criminal proceedings, like what would somebody ask in if they were a suspect in something. And for all the true crime podcasts I listen to, I have a family member who's in law enforcement, and so when he found out I was doing something in that, he was like, "Ugh, like, okay, fine, I'll tell you." And he's just like, because it's their life, right? Like, it's not,
yeah.
it's, and that was, I didn't want to make it this like voyeuristic, not have respect for people that have been through that in real life. I want it, like in recovery, I wanted to have it be in like an honest, vulnerable way. So I was like, well, no, I want to tell it how it really is. Like, what would they say and do? So I would say anything like related to that piece of the book, which was super fun for me to kind of like dive into. But yeah, some of them are like, what kind of tree would be like blooming at October in Northern California that has a orange leaf, like literally, like it's like, it's super, super specific. And I like, to be an author, you also need to be an influencer. You also need to be an extrovert. You also need to love meeting people and book signings and all of this stuff in order to get your face out there to sell more books because it's a business. But that's so not fair. And what we're seeing a lot of is like the therapeutic community now turning into, you know, messaging on social media, which I think is a wonderful tool if it's used appropriately again. But it's the same thing that's happening in recovery where like not everybody is an expert in a certain field that has to do with mental health. And I think a lot of people are claiming to be, and like I'm not claiming to be an expert in anything. I like I don't have a PhD in clinical psychology. Like no 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 no. I have my experience, like my lived experience, and I can share that, and people can take with that what they will. And then I write
Yeah,
fiction for that exact reason.
exactly. Yeah, the internet's like a really dangerous place.
Yeah,
Um,
for
as far
vulnerable
as all
people,
of that goes.
like
Yeah. Like
yes, for
someone
people.
looking
Yeah,
for help.
yeah,
Um, I mean, looking for help, crying for help, looking for solidarity, especially if you're in a place where like you need it,
yes,
you can definitely end up settling for advice that is not necessarily like, and that's what and that's what I am taking away. I'm taking that away from your post. I'm taking away from your book is I haven't seen a whole lot of advice. It's a lot more, this is my story. This is how I got through it.
yeah,
And it's much more exposure,
yeah,
than it is, here's how you should handle your journey. It's definitely more, you're not alone.
yeah,
You're like, you can make it to the other side. So I,
yeah.
I've noticed that you're
Thank
not
you.
out there giving
Yeah.
advice.
I really appreciate that because it's really hard not to, as a woman especially, and I've fallen trapped to this a lot. I have special relationships with all of my friends now that I'm sober. And the fact that they can trust me with things, and they allow me to like incorporate their stories into my fictional novels is so generous of them. But what is really hard is it is our woman's intuition to jump in and help, right? To like, we see it on the outside and we're like, I want to solve this and I want to help you. And I'm like, let's gather the cavalry and we'll make it all better. And it's like, first of all, were they asking for that? You know what I mean? Like, or were they asking for help? And so there's a lot of like, pause, see what is needed here, and like I'm not always so good at that. Like I love inserting myself into other people's problems. Like
Same.
it's such a habit, right? Because it's so much more fun than solving my own problems.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I'm 100% avoiding my own problems by
Yeah, I'm
helping
just
other
like,
people solve
oh,
theirs.
let
Absolutely.
me tell you, and like it, yeah, and I actually very recently have had to make some significant amends to two of my friends as I way overstepped in my like advice offering, and like it actually is like a part of recovery where it's like even if you sponsor someone, you're you don't get to just sit, you're not their therapist. Like you don't get to be like, okay, you do this and then you do this and then it's a program of suggestions, and that's all. And so yeah, I very much like, it's a fine line to walk, especially if you've lived it before and you're like, okay, well, this is what I did, and then you're like, okay, yeah, but we're not the same, we don't have the same things. So that's where I'm like, I have to tiptoe very carefully, to not insert myself. But I think that's also like a woman's prerogative. We're expected to like caretake everyone, right? And
Yes.
so we're like, oh, let me help you. Like
Let me
I
help.
as long as your heart is in the right place. And that's the thing that makes me feel good as a sober person now, is that no matter what, even when I do it wrong, my friends always know that nothing I've ever done is out of malicious intent, whereas I couldn't say that before. Before, like, you shouldn't trust me to babysit your children because I wouldn't necessarily keep them safe, you know? And so it's like now I can be people's in case of emergency person, which I never take for granted. Like, that's so cool. If anybody like
That's
called me and was like,
awesome.
I need a ride to the hospital, I'd be like, okay, great, I'm sober. Like,
I'm
I
on
can
it.
drive you, no problem.
Yeah, let's go.
I hope you're okay.
Like, I hope everything's fine. They're really excited to take you.
But I'm also like, and also like, be really proud of me for being sober. That also is something I would do too. I'm like, could we make this about me? And they're like, no, I'm actually bleeding from the head. So, yeah, no, it's, yeah, it's
My
all these
leg's
things
at
I'm
the
working
wrong
on.
angle, but yeah, thanks for being sober. Can we get this checked out now?
Well,
Oh
and
my
this was based
gosh.
on actually a situation that happened when I was one of my roommates, which is crazy. I've had now like five of my college roommates have gotten sober. And that kind of shows you like the women that I paired myself with and strategically lived with because they drank like me. And there was a time when my roommate called me from the hospital. She got into a very serious car accident, split her face open because somebody drove the wrong way down in a cab, wrong way. They were a drunk driver. They had five people in a cab, and she like literally went through the windshield. And I was too drunk to help her. And I remember I ended up being like, well, first, like, please call your parents because they'll want to hear from you. She was like, the whole situation, she was nervous because she was, 21 or something really young and she didn't want her parents to freak out. And I was like, no, 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 like, this is when you call your parents because, like,
Yeah.
they need to know that you're okay. And I was like so proud of myself because I was like, oh, I did the right thing. Like, telling her to call her parents, but it was to get me off the hook because it was 10 o'clock in the morning and I was too wasted to go pick her up from the hospital. And I was just like, yeah. So it's like, no, now I'm the responsible one. And like, I take great pride in that. And like, people can count on me. So it means a lot. One of the themes that both can be true is connecting with other people. And like, all we really have is connection with each other. And so that's how I feel the most like a part of in the world and the community. And so the way in which this is unfolded and the fact that I actually get to do things like this and then meet new people, I feel like I walk away and just like, oh, I like made a new friend that like I will genuinely know, like I want to know like about your kids and I want to know, you know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
that this business is very isolating and lonely sometimes because it's from behind a computer, it's solitary. I've never even met like my agent in real life because she lives on the East Coast, And so it's just
Yeah.
like this
I
that's
mean,
crazy. And then you're like, okay, well, who am I talking to? Who's reading it? And then, do things like this. And it's like, oh no, like you're a person, you're a mother. And like, I now get to know you. So yeah, it always means a lot to me.
we're real. Um,
Yeah.
the two, I found them very different.
Yeah.
Like core story wise. Um, if someone could only read one of them, which one would you tell them to choose?
Oh man, I saw this on the list of questions that you might ask. And I was like, gosh, I hope you don't ask that because it's like, okay, pick your favorite kid.
Yeah.
Which one would you
Well,
save in a fire? And I'm like,
oh, saving in the
well,
fire.
yeah.
It's not that serious.
Right? Okay, so that's kind of
We
how it
all have a
feels.
favorite kid, right though?
No, of course not. But I mean, like on any given day, of course I do. And everyone
Yeah.
does, right? It's
But
like this
like
kid is
saving
like,
from a fire,
yeah,
that's different.
yeah. And statistically speaking, like I have three of them. So it's like, there's going to be like yeah. And they just like trade off. But for books, it's so funny because, both of them have such big pieces of my heart. I mean, I, my publisher would be like, I don't think you can really answer that. But
Flip a
in
coin.
reality, I would say like probably my debut, only insofar as not that both can be true isn't relevant. It is highly relevant and all the things. But with my debut, I think what's really important and that was something I really wanted to come across. To me, the most baffling part of alcoholism was when I wanted to get off the ride and I couldn't get off the ride. And I wanted someone to explain to me what was happening as it was happening to me because I felt crazy. And I was like, I'd have people come to me and just be like, okay, just stop drinking. Like, just have
Just
a
stop.
glass of wine. Yeah, right. Just stop. And I was like, oh, I should try that. I wonder what that's like. I'm like,
Huh.
yeah,
Can't believe I didn't
tried
think of that.
that. Tried that all the ways. when you're in it, it's a version of insanity that is so disorienting. And so I was like, if I can write a book about that disorienting place and somebody can use it as their tool to recognize that they're in it, like, I don't know. I feel like that there is no greater gift that I could give, because I would need that tool. Like, I would have loved to read that. I read it after the fact. I remember I read Drinking a Love Story, which is a memoir by Carolyn Nat. She's no longer with us, but she was an alcoholic and had an eating disorder and tragically died of cancer. But the way she wrote about active addiction, it was the first book I read when I was trying to be sober. And I just was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I was like, I was so excited that somebody was depicting exactly what I couldn't depict
I'm not
because I
crazy.
didn't
I'm
have
not
the words
alone.
for.
Yeah.
Yes. And so for my debut, like that concept, I think that I could gift that to someone and they could see themselves, which I've received that message before. Like, I think that's the most valuable thing in terms of what I can offer. And I knew I needed to write that book. Both can be true. I wanted to explore relapse because that's part of my story. And I relapsed with drugs during the pandemic and identified as a drug addict after I got clean. And so I wanted to show that that can be part of recovery with long-term sobriety, because I had heard that story a lot within the circle of people in recovery. And so I do think there's something positive to be gained from hearing that, but I don't think there's anything more powerful than like the gift that I think I'm meant to leave is like most people don't survive addiction, like statistically, like it's very bleak. And so I survived it twice and I can put it into words. So, like, why wouldn't I use that? And so every time I go down to write, I'm talking with my agent. I'm like, okay, what's next for me and everything. I'm like, there will always be some piece that depicts addiction in the way that I've lived it. It won't be the focus of all of my books moving forward. But like, I'm so glad that Between the Devil exists because that message needs to be heard.
I I love when an author has something like just a message, right? Like you're not just and don't get me wrong, I love a good story, right? Like I
Right.
I like
A
I
good
love a good
romance,
story.
a
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
like, smutty stuff. Yes,
yeah.
always.
It's like I lots of murder, lots of crime, lots of
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
things.
Because
Um,
yeah, I
which
listen to it and I read it. Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
exactly. You know. Um,
I
and
do.
and that's a whole different like the psychological reasons behind us being attracted to those types of stories. Like that's a whole different episode of this.
Yeah.
But I love that you have a message, um, and it's not isolated to readers. Um, it's to anyone, and if you
Yep.
happen to pick up your book by accident, like you'll get the
Yeah.
message too. Um, but I just really like that you have a message and it's tied through both. It resonates, it comes through, and I also am really glad that you know you're committed to continuing to depict that moving forward, even if it isn't the main focus. Because I do think I think it's really important, and whether you like it or not, I think that you should like it. But it's part of your identity, right? Like you're
Absolutely.
a
Yeah. I think I
survivor.
made fun of myself the other day. It was like I did a video of like, wow, this is your whole personality, like your recovery. And it was funny. I had a therapist one time tell me that my recovery is the least interesting thing about me. And I was like, huh, that's so, I get where you're going with that. Like, it doesn't need to be your entire identity. But I do think in this day and age, like hope doesn't exist as it should. And people need it. Like I need it. And
We all need
so
it.
I don't know if you like follow those accounts where like people just give people money and like they happen upon them, or like they're hugging strangers and they give
I've
them their
seen them, yeah.
shoes. Yeah, so there's like the feel good, like there is real good in the world, and then they do a GoFundMe and then they, cure their brain cancer, and you're just like, okay, like, oh, thank goodness there are people in the world
There's
still.
some good things there.
Yes. And I I very much, for as bleak and dark as I write, and I always write trigger warnings and I write about the darkest stuff, like very traumatic things intentionally, but my stories are always hopeful because I want that to be the takeaway. And also I am not afraid of the pain piece of it anymore, right? Like I used to be terrified of it. That's why I drank. And so I'm like, okay, well, if we can explore this in a safe place and then ultimately do, hopefully come away with the hopeful message, it just feels like that's what I want to leave behind. That's why I write.
And you're doing it in a way that people can digest, right?
I
Like, I
hope
mean,
so. I mean,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was heavy, it was deep, both of them in different
yeah,
ways. Um, but at the end of it, like, but it was a book,
yeah,
like if I got overwhelmed, I could put it down.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I think
And
that's really
yeah.
important. Like you're not forcing it down anybody's throats.
No,
Um,
right. I'm learning too, because this is a business and because this is like publishing is a business, right? There's like seasons for certain things. So like I'll give you an example. So like yesteryear, okay? Let's use that as an example,
yeah,
right? It is a phenomenon, right? So because everyone is so hyper fixated on the trad wife movement, and it just so happened that all the stars aligned and everything went with it, and it's written really well. And there's, so they're like, okay, we're selling it all, we're doing it all. So that form of escapism is what people signed on for right now, because it's also like, was she in olden times? Was she not? Like those are
yeah.
the kinds of questions people are comfortable looking at right now. Fair, totally fair. There are groups of people that are interested in the harder questions, not to belittle the book that aren't that way, not in any way, because there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
But I want to continue to add to the hard conversation because that's based on my lived experience. I am a survivor of sexual assault. I am in recovery. I was groomed as a child by a predator. Like I'm sorry that that's so uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable for me too. But how I process it is through writing, and I hope that other people heal from it in the way that I do when I write it. And that's their decision to pick it
That's
up or
all
not. I
you
know
can ask for.
people, right. I know people, like when the Paper Palace came out, I want to say that was one of the first ones that like really upset people in how dark it got, or the push. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you just went, yeah, you went there. Oh my goodness. Oh, you
Someone
did.
said it. Oh no.
Someone's someone said something really,
Oh
really
no.
uncomfortable. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, great. Fiction is the place to say it. I will continue to do that because I think it's really important.
I agree. And those are
Yeah.
the books that I like.
Yeah. I know. I
And
was looking at your profile and it's like I like dark. I like the books that make you like either like sob uncontrollably, feel sick to your stomach, like feel so many feelings. And I
yeah,
don't care what those feelings are. I just want to feel all of them because first of all, how lucky are we that we get to feel them? Because
Right.
there was a time in
Yeah.
my life when I wasn't feeling anything. And so I don't take it for granted. So I'm like, give me all the feelings and like love and hope and like really cheesy sex scenes. Great. I'm watching,
Yeah.
what is it?
Perfect.
The hockey thing that's on
Oh, off
Prime right
campus.
now. Oh my God. I'm like, yes, this is all I need. Like this Love Island is over. What do I do now? Okay, I'm just gonna watch this.
I got Love Island spoiled for me today.
Oh,
I
you
haven't
didn't
watched it.
know?
No.
Oh, well,
So I made it through. I
I
know
mean,
it's my own fault. I made it through
yeah,
like,
I was gonna
I
say,
think
like
I
you're
got through.
gonna, yeah, okay. I think it's what last week.
Yeah.
Like you have to
Yeah.
get, yeah, okay.
I
But
got through,
I think
I
we
got
also
through
everyone
4 episodes.
knew what was happening. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
so I got through 4 episodes and then, but like I, lately I've been choosing reading over TV. Um, and
yes,
I don't
yes,
have a ton of time. Um,
yeah,
And so Love Island got put on the back burner. I was like, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. And today I was in
yeah.
the office and on the big screen, it was just like winners of Love Island. And I was like, you have to. I haven't
You're like,
finished it.
come on, yeah.
Like, it's
Well, because
fine.
here's
It
the
is what
thing.
it is.
We all need our version of escapism, right? That's the whole
Yeah.
thing. And like I very much, I mean, all of my books are about escapism, truly.
Yeah.
Like running, sex, food, relationships, escaping motherhood, however you want to do it. Alcoholism, obviously. But for me, I have to turn my brain off and I need to do that in a healthy way. And there's only so many things that I can do. Like I can't check out by having a glass of wine because it'll equal
Right.
7 bottles of wine. So I'm like, I either have books, and sometimes that's like, oh, this is just right, audiobooks, or really bad reality TV.
You
And
know what?
sometimes it's
I'm here
that.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if Heat and
Um,
Rivalry has season 2 coming, that's all I'm gonna do. It's just I can't wait. I can't
yeah.
wait. The best.
Yeah. Maybe I need to take a book break and catch up on all the TV that everybody's
I
watching.
mean, no, as an author, I can't say that. You shouldn't do that. I think there's like a time and a place for right now. All I'm doing is listening to books on Audible or on not just Audible, on Libro as well. But like,
Right.
I cannot sit and read a book right now. I have to have it in my ears, and it's like I think this is just the season that I'm in, and you just kind of go with it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
do what you know is good, and then when I like start consuming true crime too much, I'm like, okay,
Take a
need to
break.
take a break on all of the
Yep.
murders. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And that's when I listen to like a corny rom-com. It's just like, oh,
Right.
this is a great break from bloodshed. Thank goodness.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yes. I am so with you. It's the palate cleansers, right? You always have to
yes.
have a good
Oh
palate
yes.
cleanser, and there is a huge purpose for those. Yeah, you need absolutely.
Clean slate. So I'm most definitely like I go through phases. Audio is I would not be able to read as much as I do if
No.
audio
Yeah.
weren't part of my life. I keep saying I'm going to make this real and I haven't, but just like every time I listen to an audiobook, put a physical book in my hand and just like as like a jokey like trying to read a book while driving, like if I didn't have audiobooks. Um, but so I definitely go through phases. But what speed do you listen to your audiobooks on?
So this is actually I didn't realize this was such a thing. I have listened to it at 1.0.
Okay. I
Uh
no shame.
yeah. So I mean, okay, but here's the thing, with a caveat of if the narrator is terrible, I am not listening to your book. I don't care if you won the Pulitzer Prize. Like, sorry, I no, it has to be. And like I was very thrilled with our narrators
Oh my
for
gosh.
both of them.
Amazing.
Mia Hutchinson
Amazing.
Shaw does Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, and then I specifically asked back to be Frankie for Both Can Be True. She did tell me she needed to like go to therapy to talk about both of my books as a result, because they're so heavy, and she'd like
Yeah.
read the shit out of them, you know? And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm sorry, I think. And she's like, no, no, no. And I was like, I will always ask you, because I love her voice and her ability. Um,
Fantastic.
but I actually like, especially with literary fiction, to me, it's listening to poetry. And like, I don't want to get through it. I want to like absorb it as like a second language, you know what I mean? And so if it's a different genre, I can do it in faster, you know, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna get through it because it's like bubblegum, and I'm just like, yep, 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 yep. But if it's
Yeah.
literary fiction, it's 1.0, and it's like I'm savoring it. Plus I fall asleep to audiobooks. So sometimes I'll like have to really, yeah, I'll go back and be like, I don't know what that was. I don't know what chapter I was on, but that's how much I want to consume books and just don't have time.
Yeah. No, I do the same thing. I fall asleep to books too. And every morning it's a game of, did I fall asleep before or after the
I
sleep timer
know.
stopped?
And that's really how you know if if it's got you or not.
Yeah.
And also when you're excited to like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed at night because I know I need to listen to what happened in this. And there's been a lot of those lately. I just listened to
Yeah.
Whistler by Ann Patchett, and at first I was like, oh shit, she's reading it. Oh, okay. I was like, wow. I auditioned to read Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea because I just wanted to try it just to kind of see.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, no, thank you. And I was like, oh yeah, no, thank you. No, no, no. Let's leave this to the
I didn't
professionals.
want to do it anyway.
I was like, yeah, whatever. No, it took me 4 hours to do like 20-minute record, like, because just to be like perfectionist of like, oh, I'm sending them my best, you know.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, can Ann Patchett read the way that? And turns out she can. I was like, what
huh.
can't you do, Ann Patchett? And it was beautiful, and it was also cool because she puts emphasis on, she knows her work the
Where it's
best.
meant to be. Yeah.
And sometimes like listening to other people read, which is a trip in and of itself forever, but I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I actually would put it on this, and like you put it this way, but that's how you get books, right?
Yeah. Like, oh, that's not the tone of voice that I
Yeah, you're like,
intended
oh
there,
no,
but
oh no, no, no.
oh,
Yeah, that's not what I pictured in my
whoops.
head. That was actually a very interesting conversation I had to have with my production team. Was I was like, if I have a pet peeve with audiobooks, it's when the women do like deep men's voices.
I know. I
Also,
can't stand
just
it.
men's voices in general. Like I don't listen to a lot of like really like to listen to women stories, but I will. Like I'm listening, like I called in dead, or I should have called in dead, or something like that, and it's a man's voice. That's fine. Please don't do a woman's voice. Like don't pretend and make it high pitched. Like please don't do that.
It's so bad.
And a lot of them do, especially in like romance. And I'm like, wait, first of all, this like dual,
You
like
already
romance
have a
has the
female
budget for it.
narrator. Well, that's the
Right.
thing. Like, you've already got the dual narration. Put them in the same
That
chapter.
that is, yes. I
I
mean,
don't
you
get it.
don't need to do, yeah. It's very, it's an interesting choice. I don't, I Yeah, it's very distracting, I think, when they do it
Yeah.
that way.
It
I
takes
was
away
just
from the
like,
story for sure.
yeah, you're like, oh, I don't know. Because I don't know about you, but when you're reading in your head, first of all my voices in my head are the same, right? Like when you're reading a
Yeah.
book. So like I get that it's a production, right? Like I love the
Like they're
theater piece of
acting.
it, and
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's one of the things I love about Both Can Be True as an audiobook, is like a performance piece of it. But like, yeah, you wouldn't be like on a stage and like doing a voice of multiple people and being like, "Hey,
Right.
I'm a woman." And you're just
Yeah.
like, oh no, please
Like, if
don't
it's
do
going to
it.
be a
Yeah,
production, let's make it a production.
yeah,
Not like
exactly.
halfway make it a production.
Right.
I agree
I'm
with you
like,
on that
oh
for sure.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, I'm sorry, I kept you late. I feel like we could talk forever.
I
Um,
was gonna say, well, we're best friends now, so we
yeah,
will
let's just
learn
talk
all
forever.
things about each other. I am so happy to be able to talk to you. I really appreciate it, and congratulations on this whole new adventure for you and stepping outside your
Thanks.
comfort zone. I'm so honored you asked me to join you.
Yeah, I've loved having you. I really appreciate it. Mandatory question, apparently, it's becoming my
Okay.
thing. Um, Before we leave, what is your go-to pizza order?
Ooh, my go-to pizza order. Okay, here's the truth. All of my family eats something different for pizza. So my kids are breadsticks exclusively for a few of them, cheese for my youngest, breadsticks for my middle, pepperoni for my oldest, and then my husband is pepperoni as well. And I will never order the pizza that I want because that's too many pizzas, right? So if I was just going to order for myself, it would be sausage and mushroom,
All
and
right.
that's it.
I'm like
Yeah.
on the mushroom train recently.
Oh, I love
Um,
meat mushrooms.
yeah.
Love,
No, I like,
love.
yeah. Sausage, mushroom, and green pepper has been my
Oh, okay. Ooh,
lately.
like, yeah, yeah,
Just like
yeah.
the crunch of the green peppers. I don't know, there's something about it.
You
But we
know,
also
well,
never
and
get that in my house either because
right. Well,
they eat cheese
so
and pepperoni.
that is the plight of motherhood, right? Like, and my husband was just like, why don't you just get what you want? And I was like, why would I do that? Because this can be like lunch and dinner for them, and I am not going to eat a whole pizza by myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Right.
trying to think strategically of like how this is going to serve our
Yes.
family. And like he's like, wait, but why wouldn't you just order the pizza you want? I was like, honey,
Right.
it's the difference between
Because
moms and dads.
there's going to be half a pizza of each one of
Right.
these left. Why would I get one for myself when I could just take
No,
some from
no.
they don't
It's
think
just
about it
math.
like
I'm
that.
like, okay, it doesn't, yeah, I'm gonna be the odd one out, and then what in my like 50s, I'll be ordering pizza and I'll like order for myself and I'll be sad because I'm not ordering, my kids order. So like, I'm like, okay, I can sacrifice. Also, there's no bad pizza. Let's be real.
It's true. That's very
Um,
true.
and
I would
breadsticks, actually, I will always get on board if the breadsticks are good. Easy
I would
breadsticks. Yeah.
devour
With
breadsticks.
ranch and all of that. Yeah. My husband was the one that introduced me to ranch and pizza. He was like, what do you mean you don't know about this? And then I think I gained
You
like
didn't?
25 pounds. Yeah. I was
Well,
like, oh,
yeah. I mean,
great.
yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
I was
Yeah.
like, that's why. Can't do
Yeah.
anything a little bit. No.
No. No. Ranch.
I don't know.
Ranch is the new escapism. It's
Yeah,
fun.
exactly. That'll be in my next book. Ranch as the
Yes.
new form of
Yes.
escapism. Love
Yes.
it. All right.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your night and good luck with everything. Thank you for writing.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Bye. I